স্যারকে জয়েন করেছেন?
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম,
হ্যাঁ আমি ডক্টর মৈত্রী জয়েন করেছি। নমস্কার নমস্কার।
হ্যাঁ নমস্কার
নমস্কার নমস্কার।
হ্যাঁ, তুহিনদা আছেন? তুহিনদা? তুহিনদা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
Shemanti?
হ্যাঁ তুহিনদা।
Mister?
হ্যাঁ।
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Everybody. Respected Principal Ma'am of Sarojini Naidu College for Women, respected Principal Ma'am, Iskagata Girls College, our esteemed guest, Dr. Chittoranjan Maiti, respected IQAC coordinators of both colleges, respected joint convener, Dr. Shemanti Pal, Iskagata Girls College, respected teachers from both colleges and students from both colleges. We are so happy that Sarojini Naidu College for Women and Iskagata Girls College are celebrating National Science Day together. National Science Day commemorates the discovery of the Raman effect by Dr. C.V. Raman, for which he won the Nobel Prize in Physics. Every year, on this particular day, the government of India felicitates scientists from various fields for their valuable contribution to science. National Science Day's main objectives is to increase the awareness among peoples about the importance of science and technology in their lives. Every year, National Science Day is celebrated with a concept or theme that focuses on the importance of science, and the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, select the theme. This year, theme is integrated approach in science and technology for a sustainable future. In this occasion, I am requesting our Principal Ma'am, Dr. Urmila Ukil, Sarojini Naidu College for Women, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Tuhin. Good evening, everybody. Today, Sarojini Naidu College for Women and East Calcutta Girls College are jointly celebrating National Science Day. On behalf of Sarojini Naidu College for Women, I extend a warm welcome to all of you present in this web platform. I express my gratitude to Professor Chittoranjan Maiti, eminent doctor, scientist, and administrator, to give us his consent to deliver the keynote address. I express my gratitude to Dr. Shukla Hajra, respected principal, East Calcutta Girls College, for collaborating with us in this celebration. I express my thanks to all the teaching, non-teaching staff and students of Sarojini Naidu College for Women and East Calcutta Girls College for participating in this webinar. Today, February 28th, we celebrate National Science Day in memory of Sir C.V. Raman, FRS. Chandrasekhar Venkata Raman received the 1930 Nobel Prize in Physics for the discovery of Raman effect or Raman scattering. He was the first Asian to receive a Nobel Prize in any branch of science from 1900 1907 to 1932, Raman was associated with Calcutta, as it was then called, in different capacities. First, as an assistant accountant general in 1907 under the Indian Finance Service. Simultaneously, he became associated with the Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, the first research institute founded in India in 1876. Here he conducted research in his own time at very unusual hours. In 1919, he became honorary professor and honorary secretary of ISCS. He described this period as the golden era of his life. In 1917, he became the Palit Professor of Physics at the University of Calcutta, a position he held till 1932. The Raman effect was discovered on 20th February 1928. The day is celebrated annually by the Government of India as the National Science Day. On this day, as we commemorate Sir C.V. Raman, we also need to take a pause and reflect on how the pursuit of a scientific temperament can enrich us as individuals and help us engage in a more meaningful way with our world and its people. A simple definition of science would be that it is the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding of the natural and social world, following a systematic methodology based on evidence. Scientific methodology includes the following: evidence, experiment, and observation as benchmarks for testing hypotheses. Science is valued by society because the application of scientific knowledge helps us to satisfy many basic human needs and improve living standards. The application of scientific knowledge is enmeshed in our everyday life. Finding a cure for cancer and a clean form of energy are just two typical examples of how science impacts our lives. Hence, science is a state of knowing, of knowledge as distinguished from ignorance, and of knowledge that is based on facts and evidence and what we logically deduce from them. Thus, science essentially fosters in us a spirit of inquiry and critical thinking, in the absence of which we sink into the quagmire of ignorance, that in turn breeds prejudice and superstition. We become mentally sloth, refusing to look beyond what we blindly believe. Unless we inculcate this spirit of inquiry among our students, we will actually be failing them as teachers. These young women who come to our institutions, regardless of the discipline of study they choose, need to imbibe and develop rational thinking. Often the way we think and believe is influenced by the family we come from and the environment we grow up in. And there are many constraints within our immediate family and environment to foster critical thinking. It is therefore through our education that we can gain the freedom to analyze and understand. Our educational spaces give us that complete liberty to rediscover our world through inquiry and question. And it is this spirit I would wish our students to embrace. Only then would their education be worthwhile, and through whichever discipline they choose to pursue, they will ultimately acquire a broader and more inclusive vision of the world around them. I am very much happy that the students of the two colleges will actively participate in today's webinar. I strongly believe that we will be enriched by the speech of the eminent speaker of today's webinar and today's webinar will be a grand success. Thank you all. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your important facts about Dr. Raman and different thoughts of science in present era. Thank you, ma'am. Now, I'm inviting our respected principal ma'am, Dr. Shukla Hazra, to deliver the welcome address on behalf of Iskagata Girls College.
Thank you, Tuhin. I first welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Chittaranjan Maiti, and also all teachers of Sarojini Naidu College for Women and our college, East Calcutta Girls College, students of both the colleges, IQAC of both the colleges. খুব সুন্দরভাবে একটু আগেই উর্মিলা আমার বন্ধু ও 28 ফেব্রুয়ারি যে রমন এফেক্টের জন্য রমন পেয়েছিলেন নোবেল প্রাইজ, তারপর সেইখানের পরে যখন এই দিনটিকেই সায়েন্স ডে হিসেবে পালিত করা হয়, রমনের কাজ বা কলকাতা বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের উনি অধ্যাপক ছিলেন, পালিত প্রফেসর ছিলেন, এবং তিনি খুব কম টাকায় যে কাজগুলো করতেন এবং পছন্দ করতেন সেই বিষয় আরো দীর্ঘ কাজের কথা ব্যাখ্যা করেছে। আমি একটু তার পরের পর্যায়ে চলে যাই। যেহেতু ইন্টিগ্রেটেড অ্যাপ্রোচ ইন সায়েন্স অ্যান্ড টেকনোলজি ফর সাস্টেনেবল ফিউচার, 1930 সালে রমন এফেক্ট নোবেল প্রাইজ পাওয়ার পরে আমরা এসেছি 2022 সালে, আর 8 বছর পরে এটা 100 বছর হয়ে যাবে। বিজ্ঞানের যে সাধনা, তার মানুষের এনকোয়ারি এবং এক্সপেরিমেন্ট, তার থেকে ইনোভেশন, যেটা উর্মিলা ম্যাডাম বললেন, সেখান থেকেই বিজ্ঞান চলেছে। বিজ্ঞান আর প্রযুক্তির হাত ধরেই চলছে, এর মধ্যে আমি কোনো সীমানার কথা এখানে বলছি না। আমরা দাঁড়িয়ে আছি একবিংশ শতাব্দীতে, যেখানে এখনো নতুন নতুন অসুখের, ভাইরাসের আক্রমণ চলছে। আমরা মাদাম কুরির কথা জানি, রেডিয়াম উনি আবিষ্কার করেছিলেন। আরো অনেক বিভিন্ন ভাবে বিজ্ঞানের আবিষ্কার, বিভিন্ন মানুষের যে ওপরে আক্রমণ চলে এসেছে, প্লেগ থেকে আরম্ভ করে অনেক রকমের অসুখ বিভিন্ন ভাবে তারা প্রতিহত করেছে চিকিৎসা বিজ্ঞানের সাহায্যে। এরপরে যে ভাইরাসের আক্রমণ চলছে, এখনো চলছে, তাকে বিজ্ঞান যখন চেষ্টা করছে প্রতিহত করার, সেই সময়টা এই 2020-2021 আমরা কাটালাম। আমাদের ছাত্রছাত্রীরা সবাই এই কোভিড পিরিয়ড কাটালো। আমাদের এখন প্রয়োজন হয়ে পড়েছে সাস্টেনেবল ফিউচার, অর্থাৎ এই যে বিজ্ঞানের জয়যাত্রা, যে বিজ্ঞানের জয়যাত্রার মধ্যে দিয়ে পরমাণু শক্তি এসেছে, যে বিজ্ঞানের জয়যাত্রার মধ্যে দিয়ে অনেক রকমের শিল্প এসেছে, সেই বিজ্ঞান এবং প্রযুক্তির প্রত্যেক অনেকগুলোরই আমরা দেখি সেই ওষুধের মতো সাইড এফেক্ট আছে। কিছু উন্নতি ঘটছে, কিছু যেন পরিবেশের ওপরে তার প্রভাব পড়ছে। মানুষ তার জীবনযাত্রাকে সহজ সরল করতে চেষ্টা করছে, তার আয়ুকে বাড়াতে চেষ্টা করছে, শিক্ষা, স্বাস্থ্য সব উন্নতি করতে চেষ্টা করছে, পরিবেশের ওপর তার প্রভাব পড়ছে। সাস্টেনেবল ফিউচার আজকে সারা বিশ্বে ভীষণভাবে আলোচিত, এবং বিজ্ঞানের জগতে এটা একটি বড় ভাবে একটি গবেষণার বিষয়। যদি আমরা খাদ্য উৎপাদন বাড়ানোর জন্য হাই ইল্ডিং ভ্যারাইটিস যে সিডস গুলো ব্যবহার করা হয়েছে, তার কি প্রকোপ শরীরের উপর পড়ছে সেটা আজকে মানুষকে দেখতে হচ্ছে। যেটা অসময়ে বারবার চাষ করার জন্য যখন আমাদের আন্ডারগ্রাউন্ড ওয়াটার, ভূগর্ভস্থ জলকে যখন ব্যবহার করতে হচ্ছে, সেটা ক্রমশ কমে আসছে, সেটার কথা মানুষকে ভাবতে হচ্ছে। অত্যন্ত মানুষের চাপে যখন আরবান এরিয়াজ, শহরাঞ্চল বেড়ে যাচ্ছে, শহরাঞ্চলে ঘন জনবসতি হচ্ছে, গাছ পরিবেশ নষ্ট হচ্ছে, বায়োডাইভার্সিটি নষ্ট হচ্ছে, তার সঙ্গে মানুষের অসুখের সম্পর্ক আমরা পাচ্ছি, দেখছি হচ্ছে একটা গ্লোবাল উষ্ণায়ন, যে হিট আইল্যান্ড তৈরি হয়ে যাচ্ছে চারিদিকে, মানুষ ক্রমশ তার থেকে বেরিয়ে আসতে চেষ্টা করছে। আরো বেশি করে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি আমরা শীততাপ নিয়ন্ত্রিত যন্ত্র ব্যবহার করছি, আরো উষ্ণায়ন ঘটছে। অনেক বেশি যখন উৎপাদনের জন্য আমাদের রাসায়নিক সার ব্যবহার হচ্ছে, মাটি নষ্ট হচ্ছে। আজকে সায়েন্স এবং বিজ্ঞান এবং প্রযুক্তি তারা চেষ্টা করছে কি করে রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি না ব্যবহার করে নন রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জিকে রক্ষা করা যায়, কয়লা ব্যবহার না করে সূর্যের সৌর শক্তিকে ব্যবহার করা যায়, তাতে দূষণ কমানো যায়। জলের ব্যবহার এমন ভাবে করতে হবে যেখানে কম অপচয় ঘটবে, দূষণও কম হবে। মানুষকে সচেতন করা, কার্বন ডাই অক্সাইডের যাতে বেশিভাবে গাড়ি ব্যবহার করে কার্বন ডাই অক্সাইডের পরিমাণ বাতাসে না বাড়ে, বা সোলার প্যানেলের সাহায্যে যদি গাড়ি চালানো যায়, বা সেই সোলার প্যানেল বা সৌরশক্তির সাহায্যে যদি বাড়িতে আলো জ্বালানো যায়, যে কোনো মূল্যে আমাদের এই ভারত যে পৃথিবী, সবুজ পৃথিবী, যে এই একটি মাত্র গ্রহ, এখনো পর্যন্ত আমাদের নীল জল, সবুজ বনভূমি দেখতে পাওয়া যাচ্ছে, তাকে রক্ষা করা, যেখানে মানব জাতি একমাত্র বেঁচে থাকতে পারে। তাই 1930 সাল থেকে ধীরে ধীরে অনেক বিজ্ঞানের আবিষ্কার হয়েছে, অনেক প্রযুক্তি। আজকে আমাদের যখন কোভিডে আমরা বাড়িতে থেকেছি, তখন প্রযুক্তির সাহায্যে শিক্ষকের সঙ্গে ছাত্রছাত্রী যোগাযোগ হয়েছে, প্রযুক্তির সাহায্যে তারা শিক্ষক তাদের পড়াতে পেরেছে, প্রযুক্তির সাহায্যে অনেক কাজ করা গেছে। আজকে প্রযুক্তির সাহায্যে আমরা অনেক কাজ করি, আমাদের সমস্ত যে আমাদের যাতায়াতের কোনো ব্যবস্থা করা থেকে আরম্ভ করে থাকছি। কিন্তু আমাদের ভাবাচ্ছে আমাদের মানুষের সঙ্গে পরিবেশের সম্পর্ক, মানুষ কিভাবে পরিবেশের প্রত্যেকটা উপাদান, বায়ু, জল, মাটি, গাছপালা, প্রত্যেকটা উপাদানকে কিভাবে ব্যবহার করছে, কিভাবে ব্যবহার করা উচিত, কিভাবে ব্যবহার করলে সেটা নষ্ট হবে না, বা মানুষ এমন কিছু করে তার সেই জল বা বাতাস থেকে মানুষ অসুস্থ হবে না, মানুষই মানুষের অসুস্থতার কারণ হবে না। তাই বিজ্ঞানের কাছে আজকে মানে বিজ্ঞান আমাদের পথ দেখাবে, আরো গবেষণা, আরো বেশি মানুষের মনে চিন্তা ভাবনার প্রয়োজন হয়ে পড়েছে, যেখানে মানুষের স্বাস্থ্য এবং মানুষের যে পরিবেশ, যেখানে জীববৈচিত্র্য রয়েছে, সেই জীববৈচিত্র্যের রক্ষা করা, সেই জীববৈচিত্র্যকে রক্ষা করে পৃথিবীতে যে বাস্তুতন্ত্রের ভারসাম্য রক্ষা করা, এবং সামগ্রিকভাবে এই পৃথিবীর স্বাস্থ্য রক্ষা করা। যে কোনো উন্নয়নের সময় আগামী প্রজন্মের কথা ভাবা এবং সম্পদ না নষ্ট করা, আমরা মুখে বলি বিজ্ঞান আমাদের প্লাস্টিক দিয়েছে, প্লাস্টিকের ব্যবহার করছি, করে যে সমস্যা হচ্ছে আমরা ব্যবহার করব না, কিন্তু অনেক সময় তা হয়ে উঠছে না। প্রত্যেকটা বিষয়কে সচেতনভাবে লক্ষ্য করা, বিজ্ঞানের প্রয়োজনকে উপলব্ধি করা, মানব কল্যাণে বিজ্ঞান এবং প্রযুক্তিকে ব্যবহার করা। আরো বেশি শুভ দিন আসবে যদি আমরা এই পরিবেশকে রক্ষা করতে পারি। তাই সাস্টেনেবল ফিউচার এর জন্যই আজকের দিনে আরো বেশি বিজ্ঞানের মধ্যে আবিষ্কারের প্রয়োজন। আমি এই কথা বলে আমার সকলকে শুভেচ্ছা ও শ্রদ্ধা জানিয়ে আমার বক্তব্য শেষ করছি। নমস্কার।
তুহিনদা মাইকটা আনমিউট করবেন প্লিজ।
Thank you, ma'am, for your important thoughts about integrated approach in science for sustainable future. And she has mentioned about the use of high yielding variety and different disease related with biodiversity. And she also focused on the uses of non-renewable energy. And so it also highlights the importance of science and technology in our daily life. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again for your important thoughts. Before I invite our chief guest, Dr. C.R. Maiti, it is my duty to share some important facts and figures about Dr. C.R. Maiti's career. He has received MBBS degree from University of Calcutta in 1967 and received MD degree from Banaras Hindu University. He has received PhD degree from University of Calcutta in 1997. He has taught 36 years at various institutions like Banaras Hindu University, North Bengal University Medical College, Bardwan Medical College, etc. Dr. Maiti is not only a good teacher, but also a skilled administrator. He worked as an administrator in various organizations, such as principal as a dean in Bardwan Medical College, Faculty of Medicine, University of Bardwan, etc. He was the director of medical education and ex officio secretary, Government of West Bengal from June 2001 to July 2005. He has received many awards. He received Lifetime Achievement Award on the contribution in snake venom research by the organizers of Snake Venom Research and Treatment Symposium, Tezpur, Assam. He has published 200 papers in 40 different international journals. The main area of research of Dr. Maiti's are clinical biochemistry, nutrition, and toxicology. Apart from teacher and administrator, he is also a great human being. Today, Dr. Maiti will highlight on science and technology in medicine. Now I'm requesting Dr. Maiti to deliver keynote address. Sir.
Thank you. Dr. Urmila Ukil, the principal, Sarojini Naidu College for Humans, Dr. Shukla Hazra, principal, East Calcutta College, Girls College, Dr. Tuhin Rai, the convener of this symposium, feel it's a great opportunity for me to share some of my ideas with the uh, present students and teachers, those who are actively engaged in the field of science research, scientific research. Actually, my job has been minimized when I just listening that deliberation of the two principals, both the principals of Calcutta Girls College and your Sarojini Naidu College. I was thought my lecture was oriented to someone others because I was thinking that talk about the Raman effect, what is and how it was been discovered, and then I thought that ultimately I'll just boil down to the contribution of this science, how it helps in the sufferings of human beings, both in the process of diagnosis and as well as the treatment. But now as we have discussed all these things, so now I am concentrating only the some of the discoveries which are helping in the field of medical sciences. First, as a student of biochemistry, I must pay my respect to Watson and Crick, the double helical conformation of the DNA. Actually, all of you know that human being, they are searching what is the mystery of life? What is the mystery of life? How the life came? And during that time, some of the scientists was working. They found that there are 4 different bases which are responsible for that. And it was Chargaff, Arvind Chargaff, he found that the A, T, and CG, their ratio is the 1. So they thought that he thought, or his group thought, that how the concept of life or the mystery of life is within these 4 words only. Ultimately, it was found that in Cavendish laboratory during that time, Crick was working there. And Crick was also, he was always searching that how the life is in existence, how it becomes when, what is the mystery of the life and something like that. During that time, in Cavendish laboratory, Ingram, Kendrew, all of the stalwart scientists, they were working. And suddenly, after a few years, they are joined a Watson. So Crick and Watson, they are not doing anything experimentally. They are mathematically, they are calculating that how the DNA looks like, how this, and ultimately they found that A, T, C, G, and their configuration, how they are linked with each other, that is, and ultimately they found they are double helical conformations of that. And that double helical conformations of the DNA, that reveals the mystery of life. And ultimately, till now, I can tell you that more than 40 scientists has got the Nobel Prize on this particular codon system. And after that, this codon, then what is the ATCG, etc., for these 4 alphabets? They can read the proteins, particularly in our proteins. And this codon system, they were came into existence. The codon system that was discovered by Nirenberg, Holly, and Haragovind Khurana. And ultimately, this mystery has been solved that the protein is being synthesized from DNA to RNA, and ultimately by the process of the translation, this protein. And not only that, I can tell you the number of, suppose nowadays, this is thalassemia, very common. In some parts of our country, thalassemia is very common. But why the thalassemia is there, how it happens, how genetically it is being transferred from one person to the other, or either parents to child. This is also the genetic transformation. The gene, they are lacking of some gene which can synthesize the some protein chain, some beta chains, some alpha chain, something like that. And when the protein chains are being, that is being limited to, or it is that chain is not properly formed, then and then only you'll find the oxygen cannot bind with the hemoglobin. And in that way, till date, the people, they are searching for how to relieve the thalassemic patient. But till it is not only one bone marrow transplantation that has come, and by that transplantation, we can give some prolongation of the life only. Similarly, I can talk about during this period, all of you know there are two important comorbidities which is very much injurious to our health. That one is the diabetes mellitus, and second is the hypertension. So diabetes mellitus, nobody was not there how the diabetes mellitus occurs and this thing, that thing. But during experimentally it has been found that there are some cells which are present in the pancreas, that is islets of Langerhans, the beta cells, and if the beta cells is being damaged, then there is no insulin secretion. So that is the basic idea was there. But the scientific research, how does it help? That it is not that only lack of insulin. Insulin is there, but if the insulin cannot work properly, if some other antibodies or insulin antibody is being produced and it can bind, or the insulin which cannot enter into the cell due to lack of some of the receptors, then again you will find this, that insulin, though insulin is there, but it is not working properly. And if your sugar level is increased, you will find it is just, you can see that diabetes alone, it is not so. Diabetes and dyslipidemia, that is important. Gradually, you are just getting the much more complications. Then diabetes with hypertension, and diabetes, hypertension, and dyslipidemia, how it is dangerous, how much it is dangerous, you can see this from this picture. So this is the thing that dyslipidemia, and dyslipidemia that causes the atherosclerosis, and atherosclerosis, it maybe happens in total your vascular system, or either in the heart or in the brain. And as a result of that, you will find that there is maybe heart stroke or there may be a brain stroke. Stroke means actually brain. This is the heart attack. And diabetes is so dangerous because as the blood sugar level is increased, immediately it will invite so many complications because the infection is the one of the most important thing which can invite, and that infection leads to the renal failure. That atherosclerosis leads to the heart attack. That leads to the liver failure. That leads to the stroke also. So just see that simple, unless or until you can, without knowing the scientific basis of diabetes and how the atherogenesis or atherosclerosis is being happen, then how can you solve the problem? If you know the problem, if you know the pathology, if you know the biochemical changes, and then only you can find out the different types of drugs which can help and this can treat that. In the recent years, I can tell you the recent years, the most important example of integration of science and how the integration of science helps, that is our corona. You know the corona, that nucleotide which I have told you earlier, that simple mutation of that, one of the deletion or one or the insertion or something like that, as a result of that, there are newer mutant you will get. And newer mutant, they may be virulent, they may be less virulent, they may be infective, they may be less infective. So just see, with that mutation, so many things have been happening. And last two years, we are quite evident that how the corona has suffered the whole society. But you can see, somebody mentioned regarding the plague and others, you know that this vaccination, the most important thing is that one vaccination that will take about 10 to 12 years to come into existence or for public use. But here, only the integration of the science of the different countries, as a result of that, within 1 year, we can able to get the vaccines. And these vaccines are now successfully used, and as a result of that, you can see that how we are getting the effect of the benefit of these vaccines. Again, I can tell you, the advancement, because the science will provide you the thoughts, and science and technology, if they are not being integrated, then you will not get any benefit. Because somebody is mentioned about the X-ray. Ranjan, 1902, that X-ray was invented. And that X-ray, now you know that X-ray is developed. As a result of that, we are getting the different types of scan, that is CT scan, PET scan. Then we are getting the USG, ultrasonography. We are getting the echocardiogram. So many investigations are there. So with this technology and science, the thoughts has been translated into the action with the help of your technology. So technology and science, when they get together, then and then only we'll get something achieved, or we'll achieve something. So what I should say, that without, because when I was the student or during that time, we mainly depend on the clinical science. We examined the patient thoroughly and we diagnosed, and as a result of so many investigations during that time, hardly blood sugar and urea and something like that. No other investigation, and as a X-ray, I should say, only X-ray was available, no other. So within the 50 years, you can see how it is being developed. Nowadays, we are getting for simple thing, we are getting the investigation, that is we are getting MRI, we are getting PET scan, we are getting CT scanner, so many things, so that we can come to the proper diagnosis. We can pinpoint the diagnosis of the disease. So once, if you can pinpoint the diagnosis of the disease, and then only it will be easy for you to treat the patient. So what I want to say that without the science or scientific mind, you cannot achieve anything. So it is the student, they should be scientific minded and they will be inspired. So, some madam was talking about the C.V. Raman, that he was the professor. Actually, C.V. Raman, he, at the age of 19, he joined as a assistant account officer at our Calcutta. And he used to stay at Sialda. And he was just ups and downs by trams only. So one day he found that there is one research institute is there, that is cultivation of science. That is at Bowbajar area. And he just get down from the tram and he just joined the person who was sitting there, and he found that I am such and such, I am interested in science, if you provide some space so that I can work on that one. And during that time, no experimental instrument was available. He just got the idea that how light can scatter when there is no particles there. But as soon as the photon will come, in media he found that there is not only one beam of, just you can see from this picture, there are 3 beams, but there is one slit, and from there only one beam, and ultimately when it is coming through the prism, you can see so many colors are there. So that was the very simple observations. But that observation gives is scientific analysis. Then why the light are scattered like that? Why the wavelength is different and different colors? And nowadays, you know, the Raman effect, at least in our medical science, I can tell you, for the detection of the atherosclerosis, for detection of the different blocks in the heart disease, or any block in the brain or other places that can be detected by the Raman effect. So this is without the scientific mind. I just advise to the students that don't take anything without analysis of a scientific mind. When you will be satisfied with that one, then and then. If the science is no science, then what will happen? Somebody has mentioned about the pollution. Now that the technologies are growing, science is growing, everything is growing, but simultaneously we are inviting the different types of pollutions. So naturally, there must be some balancing so that the atmosphere should not be polluted so much. Because we want to live in good atmosphere, it is not that polluted atmosphere. So just we are together here to commemorate the scientific discovery of Raman's effect. Actually, that discovery was declared in 1928, and Raman got the Nobel Prize in 1930. And Government of India, that is the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, did declare the 28th February as a National Science Day. So I think, because I cannot talk with the particular topic, so naturally I just talk something with the different aspect, so that how the society is being benefited by the science and the use of technology. So with these few words, once again, I thank the organizer of the talk. I'm thankful to Mrs. Dr. Udmila Ukil, Dr. Shukla Hazra, Dr. Tuhin Rai, and all the viewers and listeners and all the students of both the colleges. With these few words, I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful and interesting lecture. So there are two very important takeaway messages from sir's lecture. The first one is that without the integration of science and technology, we cannot translate thoughts into reality. And the second point, which is extremely important for students and I guess as well as for all of us, that we should not accept anything without proper scientific analysis. So thank you again, sir. Now let us move to the next section of our program. So the next section is a presentation by students of both the colleges. So we will start with the presentations from the students of Sarojini Naidu College for Women. And I would like to request Dr. Tamokno Roy, respected faculty of the Department of Computer Science from Sarojini Naidu College for Women, to start the first presentation. The title of the presentation is Green Hydrogen, and it is presented by Ms. Aditi Chatterjee, a student of Physics Honours of the Sarojini Naidu College for Women. Over to you, Tamokno Rai, sir. Sir, are you there? Tamokno Roy, sir, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Please.
Hello, all of my respective teachers and audiences. I'm Aditi Chatterjee from Department of Physics, Sarojini Naidu College for Women. Today, I am trying to explain some facts on the uses of green hydrogen in sustainable development to reduce the bad effects of climate change on biodiversity. Nowadays, the green hydrogen is becoming a key component in bringing about energy transitions and ensuring a sustainable future on Earth. It is the hydrogen fuel that is created using renewable energy sources instead of fossils. Renewable energy comes from natural sources and processes that are constantly replenished, such as sunlight or wind or water, etc. It has a potential to provide clean power for manufacturing, transportation, and more. Basically, its only byproduct is water. Hydrogen can be produced through the electrolysis of water. Here is a diagram which represents the procedure of green hydrogen production. Firstly, electricity is produced by renewable energy sources such as water, wind, or sunlight. Then here electrolysis employs an electric current to split the water into hydrogen and oxygen in an electrolyzer. An electrolyzer is a system that uses electricity to break water into hydrogen and oxygen, and that process is called electrolysis. The resultant pollutant-free hydrogen is called green hydrogen. Now, the main question arises that why we need green hydrogen. For a long time period, we have been using fossil fuels, but fossil fuels are non-renewable and non-sustainable energy sources. The burning of coal and petroleum produces a lot pollutant, causing massive air pollution. Fossil fuels release oxides of carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, etc., which causes global warming and greenhouse effects, whereas green hydrogen reduces the emission of carbon dioxide. The top three sources of climate warming emissions comes from transportations, electricity generations, and industry. Energy sufficiency, renewable power, and direct electrification can reduce the emission of electricity production and the portion of transportation, but the last 15% of the economy, comprising aviation, shipping, long-distance tracking, is difficult to decarbonize because this sector requires high energy density fuel or intense heat. Green hydrogen would meet these needs. Green hydrogen can be produced from renewable energy and can be stored in large amount for a long time. It contains almost 3 times as much as energy as fossil fuels. It can be used with fuel cells and internal combustion engines to power anything, such as electric vehicles, electronic devices. It can be used in cooking and heating at home. It may be used to decarbonize sectors which are hard to electrify, such as steel and cement production, and thus help to limit the climate change. Green hydrogen can be blended into existing natural gas pipelines and also used to produce green ammonia, the main constituents of fertilizer production. It is suggested that green ammonia will be cost competitive with ammonia produced conventionally. The high cost of the production is the main factor behind the low use of green hydrogen. Nonetheless, the United States Department of Energy forecasts that the hydrogen market is expected to grow with the cost of hydrogen production falling from $6 per kg in 2015 to as low as $2 per kg by 2025. The price of $2 per kg is considered a potential tipping point that will make green hydrogen competitive against other fuel sources. Siemens has already developed offshore wind turbines which are equipped for a hydrogen blend and consequently help increases production of green hydrogen. The project aimed to drive down the cost of hydrogen to $2 per kg by 2026, approximately half of this price. Scaling up green hydrogen will be essential to helping global economy to achieve net zero emissions by 2050 and limit global temperatures rise to 1.5 degrees centigrade. Here I'm concluding my presentation. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Aditi, for the wonderful presentation. So we are open for question answer session if there's any question. অতনুদা, ইউটিউবে কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন আছে? আচ্ছা, তমগ্ন বাবু, আপনাদের এন্ডে ইউটিউবে কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন আছে?
না, কোনো কোশ্চেন।
So anyone present here would like to raise any question? So if not, let's move to our next presentation. The topic is climate change and it is presented by 5 students: Anushka Datta, Shudeshna Koyal, Jinath Firdaus, Adrika Koyal. They are students from the Department of Botany, and Shusheta Shaw, student of Zoology Department of Sarojini Naidu College for Women. So Tamogno Rai sir, please play the presentation.
Climate change, or in simple words, is long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns. These shifts used to be natural, but since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change. The climate change is disrupting the usual balance of nature, posing risks to all forms of life. We can already see some of the adverse effects, like glaciers have shrunk, ice is breaking up earlier, plant and animal ranges have shifted, and trees are flowering sooner. Amazon rainforest, the world's largest rainforest, is at the risk of getting burned out completely due to climate change. The extreme fires that razed more than 18 million hectares of bush in Australia last year were significantly more likely because of climate change. The climate change resulted in more severe and frequent storms, leading to flooding and landslides, destroying homes and communities. According to a World Bank report, more than 200 million people are likely to migrate over the next 3 decades because of extreme weather events. So, what is the solution to this? At this point, sustainable actions are the only way to make a real difference in the society. Being committed to sustainability will reduce our carbon footprint and the amount of toxins released into the environment, helping limit the climate change. Sustainable development practices help countries grow in a way that adapt to the challenges posed by climate change. Several protocols have been implemented globally to curb the global climate change.
Vienna Convention set to protect the environment from any harmful effects of the depletion of the ozone layer. The Kyoto Protocol was set to reduce greenhouse gas concentrations. Montreal Protocol was made to protect the stratospheric ozone layer. Basel Convention, designed to reduce the movements of hazardous waste between nations. and different goals under SDG, like the official mission statement of Goal 13, is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. We all can limit climate change by incorporating some changes in our lifestyles.
Thanks again. So, is there any question in YouTube? Atanuda? Tamakna Babu?
No.
Okay. So, let's move to the next presentation. The title of the presentation is Plastic, A Road to Sustainable Future or Another Pandemic. This is presented by 4 students, Vendrila Dan from the Department of Physics, Ananya Sen Sharma from the Department of Zoology, Shreya Shaha from the Department of Geography, and Janhavi Sadhu Khan from the Department of Botany of East Calcutta Girls College. I would like to request Mrs. Orpita Dash, a respected faculty of Physics of East Calcutta Girls College, to kindly play the presentation. Orpita Di.
Good evening, everyone. Today, on the occasion of National Science Day, we, the students of East Calcutta Girls College, would like to present a brief discussion on plastics, a road to sustainable future or another pandemic. This presentation is prepared by students of Departments of Physics, Zoology, Geography, and Botany. In this presentation, we analyze the challenges faced in quest of sustainability by focusing on the plastic industry. There is no doubt that plastic has molded society in many ways that make our lives easier and safer, but it has also created a global environmental and sustainability crisis. In order to curb our addiction to plastic, the world had been waging a war against virgin plastic. But the pandemic has turned an enemy into a much-needed ally. How can we leverage the advantages of plastic without contributing to the world's environmental crisis? This dilemma is the burning problem of today's community. This presentation is divided into 4 broad sections. What are plastics? How plastics are contributing to the global pollution? What is plastic recycling? How the role of plastics in our lives is now altered due to the pandemic. And finally, how can we achieve sustainability? The word plastic derives from the Latin plasticus, meaning capable of being molded into various forms, and refers to a wide range of synthetic and natural materials with many versatile properties and potential applications. Plastics are inexpensive, durable, and lightweight. They can be soft and pliable or hard and strong. They can withstand extreme cold or heat, and they can be corrosion or chemical resistant. Interest in plastic arose in the 1800s to replace scarce materials such as ivory and horn. The first synthetic plastics were derived from cellulose, a substance found in plants. Today, plastics are one of the staple products of the chemical industry and are mainly produced from fossil fuels. Global production is constantly increasing, and China is by far the world's largest producer.
Today, a world without plastic is almost unimaginable. But durability and inexpensiveness, the 2 primary qualities of plastics, have also become its greatest curse. The associated linear economy approach has resulted in almost 90% of plastic products being used only once and then discarded, creating today's global environmental and sustainability crisis. Since the inception of the plastic industry, More than 6.3 billion tons of plastic waste have been produced worldwide, the vast majority of which ended up in the landfills. According to a few charitable trust studies, approximately 11 million metric tons of plastic enters the ocean each year, an amount that will triple by 2040. On the current trajectory, there will be more plastic in the oceans by weight than fish by 2050. A very critical aspect of plastic pollution is air pollution. The burning of plastic releases toxic gases like dioxins, furans, mercury, and polychlorinated biphenyls, better known as BCPs, into the atmosphere and possesses a threat to vegetation and human and animal health. Plastic can change the soil chemistry. Films could increase water evaporation, drying out the soils. Plastic surfaces could allow toxic substances to accumulate in ways that they couldn't in organic soils. This leads to the massive changes in plant growth. Scientists have found plastic fragments in literally hundreds of species, including 86% of all sea turtle species, 48% of all seabird species, and 43% of all mammal species. Ingesting these fragments is often fatal. When animals ingest plastic waste, it can block their digestive tracts. As a result, they starve. Toxic chemicals in plastic can harm animals' health, and people can ingest these chemicals as they make their way up to the food chain. These animals often get stuck in plastic, endangering their lives. Once in the ocean, microplastics can commonly be mistaken for planktons and are ingested by marine life, leading to choking, starvation, and propagation along the food chain.
In order to understand the life cycle of plastics, it is important to remember that not all plastics are equal. Plastics not only have different chemical and physical properties but also have different utilization lives. From an economic point of view, recycling is dictated by market demand, price, and regulatory considerations and involve all stakeholders along the value chain. Consumers play a critical role since the way plastic products are used and disposed of has a significant impact on their quality and value post-use. Today, the mechanical recycling or chop and wash is the only widely adopted technology for the large-scale treatment of plastic solid waste. Alternative approach to mechanical recycling includes chemical recycling and incineration. Prior to COVID-19 outbreak, the challenges associated with plastic were poor waste management, end-of-life concerns, and associated carbon footprint were gaining attraction as urgent issues to be addressed for a more sustainable future. The world has finally started to move towards the value chain distinctive of a circular economy. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has significantly disrupted not only our lives but also how the world sees plastic. As the COVID-19 spread across the globe, healthcare workers rely on PPEs such as face masks, gloves, gowns, goggles, and face shields. At global level, the World Health Organization estimates 89 million surgical masks, 76 million gloves, and 1.6 million goggles will be required to respond to the COVID-19 crisis each month. And that to meet this demand, manufacturing capacity will need to increase by 40%. But why is this relevant to the plastic industry? Because PPEs are mainly made up of plastic. Demand for personal protective equipment, PPE, safety screen, single-use plastic products are skyrocketed. This dynamic has given the plastic a new life, but if the associated environmental challenges are not properly addressed, the world will be facing a new pandemic called a plastic pandemic.
Since today's plastics can stay in the environment for hundreds of years and even when degraded, they never truly leave our ecosystems.
but remain present as smaller pieces or particles. A new paradigm is needed. Up to now, the common strategy to combat the escalating plastic pandemic has been a 3 R's approach: reduce, reuse, and recycle. But success requires transitioning to a truly circular, globally integrated, and decarbonized plastic economy, where products are 100% recyclable, used for as long as possible, and waste is minimized. However, the following possible measures can be taken to ensure sustainability. 1. Transitioning to truly circular value chains. 2. Increased focus on plastic composition. 3. Through both the smarter design of polymers to improve recyclability. 4. Development of bio-based alternatives. 5. Strict rules and innovative efforts for companies across the world. To conclude, plastic has become so omnipresent in our daily life that it is simply impossible to imagine a world without it. However, lack of post-use considerations, high risk cost of recycling, together with a significant carbon footprint, have turned plastic into the victim of its own success and created a global sustainability and environmental crisis. This is an issue even more so during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, which has significantly increased plastic demand in response to the virus. The transition to the sustainable future for plastic must encompass every aspect of the value chain, from production to consumption to disposal, and be based on a circular economy approach to ensure meaningful and overall positive effects. Here is the list of references we have followed. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Urvitadi. And we are now open for question session if there's any. So there's no question in the Google chat. Is there any question in YouTube? Tomonoda?
No.
Otanoda? অতনুদা কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন আছে ইউটিউবে? আচ্ছা, so we have come to the end of our program. So before going to the next section, I would like to request our students to fill up the feedback form we have posted in the YouTube channels, YouTube links. So Atanuda, you and Tomogno Babu are requested to kindly post the feedback link in the YouTube comments so they can access the feedback link and kindly give your feedback. It is very important for us. So now let's move to the next section. And the next section is a vote of thanks by our respected IQSE coordinators. So first, I would like to invite Dr. Shantamay Chakraborty, respected IQSE coordinator of Sarojini Naidu College for Women, to kindly deliver the lecture. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shimonti. Good evening, everyone. Honorable Chief Guest, respected Principal Ma'am of both colleges, teachers, non-teaching, and my dear students. First of all, I would like to thank the Principal Madam. You gave me an opportunity to speak on this auspicious occasion, and it is a matter of honor for me. On behalf of my college, I give a really heartfelt vote of thanks to our Chief Guest, Dr. C.R. Maiti, Director of Medical Education and ex-officio Secretary, Government of West Bengal, who spent his busiest time gracing the occasion. Today we had the opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this is definitely encouraging us in our future events. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and shown us a new path. On behalf of the Sarojini Naidu College for Women, I would like to thank the respected Principal Ma'am, Dr. Shukla Hajra, East Calcutta Girls College, for your presence, and without you, this program would not have been possible. I would also like to thank to the joint conveners, Dr. Tuhin Roy, Sarojini Naidu College for Women, and Dr. Shimonti Pal, East Calcutta Girls College, for the preparation of this program. I would like to thank both teaching and non-teaching staff who made this National Science Day celebration successful. Also, I would like to thank both computer teacher of Sarojini Naidu College for Women and East Calcutta Girls College for their flawless technical support. I would like to thank the students of both colleges for their beautiful scientific presentation on this occasion. Finally, last but not least, a big thank you to each one of you who made this National Science Day celebration memorable for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. So now I would like to request Dr. Deepa Ghosh, respected IQAC coordinator of East Calcutta Girls College, to kindly deliver her vote of thanks. Deepadi.
Yes, Shamanti, thank you. Good evening to all of the eminent personalities who are present in this webinar. Really, it's a very auspicious day. The two colleges in collaboration, they're celebrating the National Science Day 2022. We are all grateful to the teaching, non-teaching, and the students of Sarojini Naidu College for Women. So in my vote of thanks, I'm starting with the two principals, the two honorable principals, Dr. Urmila Vukil of Sarojini Naidu College for Women, and our respected Dr. Shukla Hazra Madam of East Calcutta Girls College, Principal of East Calcutta Girls College, for their constant support and inspiration and their encouragement. Because without their support, it is almost impossible to conduct such a program. We are really thankful to both of you, ma'am. In the inaugural speech, it was given by Dr. Tuhin Roy, who introduced the theme today. So we thank you, Dr. Roy. The keynote address was given by Dr. C.R. Maiti, Professor of Biochemistry, and who is also the ex-director of medical education. It was really a very enlightening discussion, and I think everybody present in this webinar is benefited by your lecture. So we are really thankful to you. We thank you again. Dr. Maiti has in a very lucid manner, he explained the mystery of life, how the genetic transformation of disease and how the diabetes and all these things, hypertensions, all these things can cause havoc, damage to our health, and we are really enlightened by your discussion. So we are really thankful to you, sir. Thanks are due to the students who very beautifully presented their what they are thinking. So it's really encouraging on our part also to see that the students are feeling so much encouraged to present what they are thinking. They are sharing their thoughts. So it is really very encouraging for all of us. And we are really thankful to the students who have actively participated in this presentation, in making this presentation. It's a beautiful presentation. Thanks a lot. Thanks are also due to all the teaching, non-teaching members of both the colleges who have cooperated to make this program a grand success. We are thankful to the teaching and non-teaching staff of both colleges. And also, we should talk about the students first, because without them, because it is everything is for them only. So we are thankful to the students of both colleges who are participating in this program. I also thank my counterpart of the Sarojini Naidu College for Women, Dr. Shantwana Chakraborty, for her contribution. Also, I thank the teachers and professors of the computer science departments who have helped, who have provided their support for all their technical supports. We are thankful to the conveners, Dr. Tuhin Roy and Dr. Shemonti Pal of the two colleges for conducting such a beautiful program on this Science Day. And also we are thankful there are many others who have supported them to organize this beautiful program. So the teaching staff, non-teaching staff, whoever were there to support the conveners for their cooperation, we thank them also from the core of our heart. So overall, it was a very beautiful program. We were all enlightened. We are all enriched by this, by the theme, by the speakers, what they have thought about this theme. So we are grateful to them. We are thankful to them. So thanks to everyone. So Shemonti.
Thank you, Didi. Now, with the permission of both our principal madams, we would like to end today's program. So I would like to ask Ma'am Dr. Shukla Hazra Madam. Ma'am? Ma'am? ম্যাম শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? Sorry, we can't reach her, so I would like to ask Dr. Urmila Ukhil ma'am. Ma'am? Is ma'am there? For her permission to conclude today's program. Tuhinda? Okay, so let's conclude today's program here. I would like to thank all of you for participating in today's program and making it a success. We look forward to many more such programs to enrich us in future. Good night and take care.